Hey guys, welcome to Tell to Trevor. I'm your host, Trevor Shelley, and today on my podcast I have.
Tmhk Tomahawk, your shepherd. Been in the game for quite some time. Here to talk and tell it to Trevor. Appreciate you having me on.
No problem. What sparked your interest in the professional wrestling industry?
Oh man. Going back to when I was a kid, this is like, just the idea of superhero and villains captivated me at a young age.
Yeah.
Um, Watching like Hogan and Ultimate Warrior Attitude Era as a adolescent.
Yeah.
Me and my best friend, we couldn't get enough of it, and eventually both of us joined a wrestling school and got it on the road.
Who were your wrestling idols when you were a kid?
Oof, man. I was a big Rock mark. I love the Rock. The People's Champ was my guy. Every time, literally, when I was a kid, like when he would lose, you'd see tears down the shepherd's face for sure. But I like Jericho. He was huge. You'll see a lot of influences in how I wrestle his style. Eddie Guerrero, Edge. There was just a lot of guys. Even like taking it back even lower, like watching some old school stuff like Chief J Strongbow. Like Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Gorgeous George. Like there's a lot of influences that I've tried to pull from throughout my career to kind of pay tribute and emulate the greats.
How did you get your start in the wrestling world?
So we started. It's actually funny. My former tag team partner had some things happen between us in the wrestling world that we are no longer tagging. Um, may or may not have had to teach him a lesson or two. But anyways, he ended up going out after a falling out. He went and started a school, and out of nowhere, he kind of was like, "Yo, we talked about doing this as kids, man. You need to get out here." So we ended up training at a wrestling school out in Hagerstown, Maryland, House of Pain, ran by a guy named John Rambo, who did, all sorts of traveling in the '80s with like Rick Rude and you know a lot of the guys that ended up making it to WWE around that time, and started training there. Kind of honed our craft. Then moved on to EWA Pain Factory in Baltimore, Maryland, and that's where we kind of took our wrestling to the next level. And yeah, we just kind of ran with it. We were a tag team for quite some time, won some championships, and then more or less wanted to kind of venture out and do our own things in singles. And yeah, so just kind of in the DNA. We just wanted to try something that we always thought as kids, and it stuck with, and we just been passionate about it ever since then. Just we're just big ass kids, man. Never always wanted to always wanted to be in this world.
Yeah. Um, what was your first wrestling match like?
First wrestling match, man, I think it was a battle royal in Martinsburg, West Virginia, I believe. Uh, yeah, I pretty much got the shit kicked out of me. Had some WWE guys in there, were former WWE guys, at the time, and it was cool to be in the ring with them, and it was kind of weird being like going from, a fan, your whole life, and then you're, sitting across from like a guy like Matt Hardy or like Jake the Snake or like these people that you didn't necessarily think that you'd be. I mean, at the time you don't think of them as peers, obviously, but like that's in essence what you are, a coworker, right, for the most part. So seeing
Yeah.
these guys in the ring and up close, and you're in it with them, and you're kind of like taking some licks, paying your dues. It was I guess the best way to describe it was a very surreal moment. I would say is the best way to put it. It was very surreal that you're in that ring and you're in front of that crowd and the adrenaline's running through you, and it was um, like falling in love for the first time.
Let's see. Um, what are your goals for the future in the wrestling business?
I've been in it now for what, going on 11 years. So it's more or less I just want to tell good stories. I want to elevate whoever's in the ring with me. I want to be able to elevate whatever company I'm working for. I want to bring value. I want to bring intrigue, interest to stories. Um, Help fans. It's just anything I can do to help a company grow, anything I can help do to help a wrestler or a partner, dancing partner. These are the things that I'm kind of focused on the most now. We all want that WrestleMania moment or the WWE and stuff like that, and of course that's something you grind for. But I think that the way that baby step or the ladders that you have to climb are just making sure you tell those stories and controlling what you can control. And I've made it a very big focus at this point in my career to just try and tell those stories and make an impact that way.
Can you describe your wrestling character or persona for someone that has not seen you wrestle, or for the international fans around the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm your shepherd Tomahawk. I've grown from a being a dark horse, part of the dark horse tag team that has won countless championships up and down the East Coast, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland. A product of the DMV through and through, but ascended to a new calling, a new era of air here that I'm here to help. I'm here to help anyone that needs it, and I will do anything to get my message across. Any links to get my lesson, to make my opponents, my friends, better. Um,
Um,
yeah.
can you share a memorable moment from your wrestling career so far?
Um, Man, I mean, it's always weird to in the moment to kind of like take a step back and really like feel it in the moment, but like kind of in retrospect, feuding with my best friend, my brother, my former tag team partner, going on a year-long feud, and being in we fought over two heavyweight championships at two different companies, two storylines that were intertwined at the same time. So it was very surreal being across the ring from him. And it was just like when we were in rooms jumping off the bunk bed fighting, you know what I mean? And it was on another level in front of hundreds of people, or more and more on social media. And it was just a liberating and like creatively liberating and just emotional for both of us to be able to do that and showcase what we do. The people that we've met, the kind of the family that we've kind of grown in this business, seeing them succeed and going to higher things and being a part of like PWIs and going on to their moments, those have all been things that kind of resonated with me more so than like, I don't know, like meeting someone that I idolized, or it's the moments that you create with the people that you care about in this business, and the accolades come with that, but it's those connections that matter the most, I think.
Can you describe the feeling of winning your first championship?
Yeah, our tag team, the Dark Horses, we won our first tag team titles in 2015, I think, no, 2016. And it was a two ring uh fatal four way for the tag titles, and we weren't told we were getting there, so it was a very big shock. Um, I may or may not have botched a huge spot, so it was kind of embarrassing for me at first, but um, getting that gold around and just kind of letting the company's letting you know that they're putting that division on your back, and it was an amazing moment for me and him to be able to share it, and it was an amazing moment to kind of pushed us through, because I mean, when we were the dark horses, that's what is a dark horse? It's someone that's not supposed to succeed. So we believed in ourselves to do it, and we did, and we kind of ran with that for quite some time. And then winning my first singles, just kind of finding myself as a singles wrestler after being in such a prolific tag team in the area was tough. But I got the crowd behind me, and it was a big draw. It was in a cage, and I won the Maryland championship right before COVID. Literally the last show that January, right before COVID, the pandemic hit, and so it was the highest moment I had had, as far as a crowd standpoint, with like not to like it's not like a really a brag or anything, but just having the biggest draw of the year, and being able to win my first singles title was very it's a very special moment. And then with something as horrible as a pandemic hitting right after that, it was a very high point to a very low point, not just for me, but obviously for like the world. So it was kind of bittersweet in that moment, but that in that ring in that moment, it was very special.
How do you handle the mental and emotional aspects of wrestling?
I mean, it's tough. I got, I got a family. I got, I got 5 kids. I've missed some birthdays. I've missed some, you know, and anniversaries. I've missed some stuff. So, being on the road and missing these things is not easy, but it kind of comes with the territory of, this is what I'm passionate about. And this is what I'm trying to succeed in. This is what I'm trying to make money from. It's my legacy and my livelihood. The only reason why I started wrestling in the first place, to be honest, was um, my first son was born, and I kind of just wanted to show him that any dream is obtainable, and nothing is crazy. Because, I tell people I was going to be a professional wrestler, and people were like, "Wow, that's dumb," or "That's crazy. Like you're not going to make it," and blah blah blah. And I'm happy to say that I like, maybe not, maybe so at the time, but at least my son or kids, after that were, well, we'll never not shoot for what they want to do, and that was my biggest takeaway. So it's tough to have to miss certain things. Luckily, I'm blessed with my family that they get the trials and tribulations that come with this business. But yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, it's not. You got to really love it. I mean, and the physicality of it obviously is, walking around with, hurt back, sore, had concussions, you've been injured and all this stuff. But end of the day, it's something you power through because you just have that passion, you have that love for it. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Alright, so have you heard of the Trev Shock segment I do on this podcast before, or do I need to go into detail for you?
Yeah, give me the details. Give me the details.
Yeah. So it is like a business meeting. You have those rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So mine is you got 50 seconds to answer 6 questions.
All right. Lay it on me.
All right. And the record to beat is 35 seconds, holded by Corey Dillinger.
All right. Rock and roll.
Um, I'll start the timer after the first question.
Okay.
Favorite pre-show snack?
Slim Jims.
Favorite pre-show song?
Oh, August Burns Red. Um, uh, Mariana's Trench.
Who's your favorite wrestler growing up?
The Rock.
Favorite sports team?
New York Yankees. Yankees all day.
Favorite color?
Navy blue.
Favorite type of music?
Metal.
So you beat it with 30 seconds remaining.
There you go. Quick answers from your shepherd. That's right.
But not the record.
So close.
Um, what are the biggest challenges of being a professional wrestler outside of the ring?
I mean, yeah, just the long roads, kind of what we pertained to before. The long roads, missing things, birthdays and anniversaries and weddings and all that stuff is tough. Um, but I don't know. I feel like it's you know, as far as the road, it's like that's what you fall in love with too. You fall in love with the things that are easy. You know what I mean? Like obviously, being in the ring is the best feeling in the world. That's why anyone that probably comes on this podcast says it's the greatest feeling you'll ever feel. Being in front of a crowd and being able to entertain, create joy, create anger, sadness, just invoke emotions in general. And these aren't things that we wouldn't necessarily dwell on too much as far as the negative. It's just the drives are, you got a couple boys and you're cruising down the road, just a road trip. You know what I mean? Or sometimes they're late nights, sometimes they're early mornings, but you're getting to do what you love. I'd say being away from the family is tough. But if you have a great foundation, that's well, like I do. I have a great foundation, so it's very um, liberating for when I get on the road and I get to focus. Just like, all right, let's go. We're going here to entertain. We're going here to put on a show. So I'm very lucky in that aspect. But yeah, I'd just say probably being away from the family and you know, pretty much it.
Um, how do you feel about the business side of wrestling? And then how do you feel about the promotions shaping the storylines?
I mean, the state I can only speak on the things that I've had to deal with in this business, and I've kind of made it a point to work with people and companies that I want to and I respect. You know what I mean? And I think there's a very old school way of thinking about certain things as far as like territory days and all that stuff, it's very still prominent in a lot of these places that I've worked for. But if the main focus is on the consumer being the fan coming in and just wanting them to have a good time, that's the most important thing. I never I've had guys that I'd work for promoters and they wouldn't pay, and you just don't work for them again. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if they give you these promises or whatever the hell, just don't do it. You know what I mean? And I you know fool me once, that kind of thing. And it's uh, as long as you stay from those situations and you find your knit, um, that's what's most important. And I think that I've been lucky enough to kind of, as far as as long as I've been doing this, I've been able to navigate uh, who in this area I can trust. And as far as even if I'm taken out, on a tour or wherever, you just do your research to the people that love the business just as much as you, um, and want to just put on a good show and tell good stories, and make sure that you get paid in the process, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and people will make a livelihood off of this. You know what I mean? So it could be better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Obviously, it could be better. Like there's people out there that do some real carny shit, um, and it sucks, and it's a bummer, and it's very exploitative. And but that's I like to think, or not like to think, but it's unfortunate to say that like in any business, there's that. There's people that are going to try to take advantage or screw people over or whatever it is. But you kind of just got to navigate through the waters and just kind of pick and choose your spots. Have value for yourself, and that's the most important thing.
If you could wrestle any legend wrestler from the past, who would it be and why?
Oof. Any wrestler from the past, huh? Um, any Eddie Guerrero probably. I think that with Eddie, it's just his storytelling in a ring wasn't just flashy moves. I mean, he had them, but he really told amazing stories. Um, because everything he did was just captivating, whether he was face or heel, or he was anywhere on the card, when he was cruiserweight, when he was heavyweight, when he was tags, he was captivating. And being a part, I've never seen a bad Eddie match. I've never seen him go in a ring and screw it up, or he always made the other guy look like $1 million, whether he could run the ropes or not. Like he 100% was a professional, and R.I.P. to him, obviously. But Eddie would be a huge one. I mean, you could be cliche like Taker or something like that. Obviously, or like The Rock, obviously. But I think like Kurt Angle, like Pete Kurt Angle, like around like WrestleMania like 19 era, when he was just an aggressive force, or like even TNA Kurt Angle when he was just like a machine. Just to test your physical prowess, I think would be amazing to be able to do that with. But yeah, I mean, the best I can do on that right now is fantasy bookings on 2K. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Um, if you could attend a wrestling seminar session with any wrestler, who would you pick?
Wrestler, huh? Um, I mean, you would, Shawn Michaels. I mean, probably. I feel like he runs NXT. He countless decades of knowledge, and not even just from him, from everything that he's learned from the people that he's associated himself with. I mean, he would probably be the one of the greatest minds in the business. And not even just in the wrestling world. Like, I mean, he's went through all sorts of personal demons and things that he's overcame, and that pertain to this business as well, that just life experiences that would help. I think that he's the head of NXT for a reason, because of it, right? Like, it's not just because, oh, he's buddies with Trips. Like, no, like he's one of the greatest of all time. And at telling stories, the physical aspects, like his in-ring, like his mic work, like everything is just amazing. So learning from him would be, any nugget of knowledge from Shawn Michaels, and you're going to listen. Um, Chris Jericho, as far as, Chris character work, I mean, the guy's reinvented himself so many times, and, people give him a lot of shit now for, still doing it at the age he's doing it, and he gets started, but it's a character, and he's getting a reaction, and he's
Yeah.
reinvented himself so much that you can't, like, if you look at the stats on it, you can't you can't knock that. You can't take that for granted. So Yeah, probably Jericho and Shawn Michaels would be my two.
If you could have a wrestling legend as your mentor, who would you choose?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it would probably go to Jericho or Shawn Michaels. Probably would just for everything I just said. I mean, it would be in this business, it's pretty commonplace to say no one ever learns at all, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
something that it's not like a course that you just finish. You are always learning for as many years in the business. You're always learning more and more and more. And yeah, I think just being, on a car ride with those guys, the things you could take away from that would be invaluable.
What's your opinion on the wrestling crossover events with other sports or entertainment industries?
Anything that gets eyes on this business is good. I think that anything that, if it's cross platform for, music or sports. I mean, you think of WrestleMania 1. I mean, the why it was such a huge, success, why this whole thing started, of how countless wrestlers' dreams and kids' dreams have made because of WrestleMania. It started all because, it was a cross promotion with MTV, and they brought in musical acts, they bring in Liberace, they bring in all these different aspects, Mr. T, and it connected and got so many eyes on the product that it created a whole generation of kids that wanted to be in that world. And I think the more eyes on it, the better. It's just good business for one. And as far as like companies working together, I think there should be more of it, because it's not the territory days anymore, man. Like we're all trying to make a living, and we're all trying to make a buck, and we're all trying to entertain. So the stuff that like NXT is doing with TNA, I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. I love seeing it. Like it's cool stuff. Like it's you're this era of wrestling that we're in. You're getting like these moments that you never thought you'd get before. These matchups you never thought you'd get before. And it's not just because guys are jumping ship. It's because the companies are deciding to work together now, which I wish translated a little bit more to the indies. As far as some of these these smaller shows and companies around the country, around the world, that could be doing the same thing to benefit from it. But you know, um, the indies are always a couple years off from the bigs, so I'm sure it'll come at some point. I'm sure there's a lot of companies that do it right now, but it's I think it's amazing. I think that all the cross, you know, we just saw Cena. This is one of the most iconic moments we're gonna remember for the rest of our lives. Anyone that's a wrestling fan is gonna remember the time that Cena turned, and they had Travis Scott in the ring, right? And it's like people are like, "What the hell is that about?" But I mean, it's think about all the Travis Scott fans that weren't wrestling fans that said, "Holy crap, what's going on over there?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's stuff like that that maybe people like the diehard fans don't necessarily see, but it's all about getting more eyes on the product and the business as a whole, which is good for everyone that's in it.
What advice would you give to an aspiring wrestler?
Say it one more time, sorry.
What advice would you give to an aspiring wrestler?
Just listen to everything, soak up as much information and advice as you can, and never think that you're done learning in this business ever. There's no cheat code to remember. It's pay your dues. It's listen to your vets and listen to guys that have made it and been places you haven't, worked crowds you've never been in front of, because every single area in the world is a different crowd. And those guys that are in those areas know how to do it. And guys, it's never the same anywhere you go. So I'd say just, get good foundation and training, and listen to every single person in every locker room that you're in. Because if you map out in your mind every single show I work, I'm going to take one piece of advice, or try to get one piece of advice years and down the road, you're going to still remember certain things. There's still things I remember from when I was, my first year, that I've stuck to these just notions, that because one, it works for you and it works for everyone. And it's foolish to think that you can't um that you can't just grow. At any time you go to a show, just try to grow and talk to people and just make these connections and relationships that will matter. They do matter. um and that's, yeah, just opening those ears and retaining advice is the biggest thing to get ahead.
Can you tell me about a significant rivalry you had and how it helped you grow as a wrestler?
A significant what?
Significant rivalry you had and how it helped you grow as a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, going to I we Dark Horses were a tag team in the area. We were pretty prolific, and we had a pretty decent following, and we were we were the at the time DMV's best tag team, and we believe that still to this day that we were the best tag team in this area. And I we did a little bit of time apart, and nothing, no animosity, but went on our singles routes, and I had some success. My partner Grizzly O, he had some success, but at the time, I won, a singles title. I won, a tournament that got me a title shot, and I won the heavyweight title in a couple places. And these are moments that he had that he didn't, when he had the opportunity, he didn't take advantage of. He didn't get the job done. So when I got my title, I felt this, I don't know, like a divine calling, I guess you can call it, of that I need to escalate. I need to bring up people just as much as I feel like I did for myself. And my first lesson and my first moment of that would be in my former tag team partner. So when he came out to congratulate me for my title, I had to make a point, and I bashed my trophy over his head and knocked him out with my championship. And we went on a very long feud of me just trying to get the best out of him. And that was finding his aggression, it was finding his ferocity. And by the end of it, I think that anyone that tuned in or anyone that will go back and look at it is that he did, because he took those titles and he became better because of those moments that I put him through. Many of us said I kidnapped his brother and I did some stuff that wasn't so. My lessons are a little unorthodox, I guess, but the message was the same, and he got the picture and made it better. And that rivalry was huge for me because it kind of made me go that anyone that I'm in the ring with, I can make better, as far as like elevating their potential or realizing their potential. So that's pretty much what the Shepherd was born. That was the first, you can say, rivalry, but to me it was more of a lesson I was bestowing upon someone. So not so much of a rivalry, but it was my calling, and it was the first time I was able to show it. And that was when the Shepherd was born, and that's why he's still here today, helping whoever needs the Shepherd's guidance. So I would say that was probably and from a personal level of just being in the ring with someone that you grew up with doing, uh, dreaming this with, and then it's a reality, was powerful as well. So it was very emotional and good time.
What was it like working with a particular wrestler that you really clicked with in the ring?
Um, there's 10, all these years, I've had, a lot of amazing dance partners, but it's hard to pinpoint. I've had, guys in this area, name drop, like TJ Sykes or like Chris Slade, or, a lot of, and Christopher and Dino, these are PWI guys, Eel O'Neill, like these are people that, like, you get in the ring with them and you just have that chemistry with. My tag team partner, we like to tout, since sixth grade, we've had it, we've had chemistry the entire time. So even with him, sometimes you just have that instant chemistry in the ring, and you know that you're gonna make some magic. Those are the moments you kind of live for when you're trying to entertain a crowd. And when you're in the back, and the promoter comes up to you, he's like, "Yo, you guys are getting a bonus tonight because match tonight," or whatever the hell that's. I mean, that's all good and great, but getting that crowd into it and letting them just feel
Yeah.
is the most important. So it was having those moments. There's been quite a few that just are, awesome. This is just really no way to put it other than that. Just awesome.
Can you describe your training process and what was the most challenging part of learning to wrestle?
Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, endurance training is no fun. you know, as far as training, you just hit the gym. You gotta get in the ring, and you gotta run the ropes. You gotta take the bumps. You gotta have trainers that know your fundamentals and know what you're doing, how to tell a story the correct way. You're not just going in there and doing a bunch of moves. But the endurance training was tough. Doing drills, and doing just making sure that you can keep your mind when you're under stress and under all that adrenaline and all that when you're just fatigued to like no point. of being able to use your brain was the hardest. I guess it was the hardest. But you know, just taking it slow and being able to, you know, find yourself in a ring is probably the most important thing. So I'd say as far as training, that was the most important thing, was just being able to teach your brain to think under stress and be able to come up with something that makes sense where you're safe and that makes, the crowd happy.
Um, what hobbies bring you joy outside of the ring?
Uh, Playing with my kids, hanging with the kiddos is always great. Seeing them grow and develop into their own little personalities has been awesome. I love baseball. I'm a big baseball guy, big sports guy. Football, hockey, basketball, video games, big video game guy, gaming. Yeah, I mean, like I try to keep it. I do some nerd stuff. I do some D&D. I do some tabletop games. Literally, I'm just a big ass kid, man. Like, I'm just a big ass kid
Yeah,
that's you know it's got a 9 to 5, but I've just never grown up with the stuff that I love since then. I got Power Ranger shit. I got 200 pops around. Like, I'm just at heart, just a big kid. And with wrestling and video games and anything, comic books or superheroes or anything like that is pretty much what I find myself just loving, um, and doing in my free time. It's a cool thing about this, like, when you never grow up, you have a million hobbies. So it's it's never a dull moment in this household, that's for sure.
yeah. It's like for me, I got a buddy that does NASCAR for a living, so
Oh wow, that's awesome.
so
Yeah,
every
dude.
time he comes to town, I will go to the stores and find something that's his
Oh
and
nice.
just get him to sign it, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
let's
awesome.
see if he recognizes me through the crowd.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's sweet.
So I
Yeah.
got his brother's back window
Oh
on the
wow,
wall
that's
over there.
that's awesome. That's a good piece. Damn,
Yeah,
that's sweet.
and
Yeah,
then a replica helmet from 3 years ago signed by him
yeah,
on
man.
my
That's
shelf, and then Power Rangers action figure signed by the actor and everything.
Oh nice, man. That's awesome. Which one?
It was let's it's the Beast Morpher, the red one.
Oh nice, man. Yeah, that's sweet. That's dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We
I
did.
don't know.
We went to Awesome Con last year and met the original Blue and Black Ranger, which was pretty
Okay,
awesome. So yeah, we were pretty heartbroken that Jason David Frank passed, because that was the one guy that
yeah,
we were literally my tag team buddy. We were that was our guy. I was the White Ranger. He was the Green Ranger. Like, growing up, that's what so when he passed, it was a big moment for us that we never got to meet him. So it was kind of a bummer, but
yeah.
yeah, man, Power Rangers dope. We like all that stuff over here. That's for sure.
Even got like comics of
Oh
from
yeah.
the Shattered series.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I
I
could.
got the book, and then I got each chapter of each comic book, all in cases.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good to have right there.
And then I had a buddy go out and find me the original Power Rangers comic book, the first ever one.
Oh wow, damn. That's
Yeah,
that's a good piece right there. Yeah, that's
he was
sweet,
like,
man.
"Yeah, there was a place selling it for like $5," and I'm like, "Was there anything wrong with it?" And he was like, "No."
Yeah, that's
I
a
was
good.
like, "Okay,
That's a come up right there.
right." Um, what is your favorite gear that you have ever had made?
Favorite gear? I have some snakeskin kick pads right now that I'm absolutely in love with. I'm kind of a shoe head, so I got these Nike boxing shoes, these Hyper KOs that go with them. That's like my favorite combo I've ever
Yeah.
had before. So that's probably the coolest thing. Yeah, I mean, it's probably my favorite thing I've got going on right now.
And then where can I find you on social media?
2X Tmhk on Instagram, Tmhk Pro Wrestling on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's prowrestlingtees.com. I got a store up there, TMHK. So it's just support indie wrestling. It's most so we're all
Yes.
for here. That's right.
And then thank you for being on the podcast today.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me.
Um, guys, just a friendly reminder, we do have this t-shirt contest going on still. It's bands and wrestlers. So there's two separate ones
All
on
right.
all the pages, Facebook, Instagram. X, YouTube. You click on the link tree and it's going to have wrestlers only or fans only.
Oh,
So the wrestlers one they're both made the same way, but since you're a wrestler, you click the wrestlers one. Um,
all right.
and if
Well,
you're a wrestler that's a fan of the show, you would hit the fans one as long as you have not been on the show.
got it.
Um, just so then it's a little bit more fair that I can be like, oh, this guy's been on the show. Let's
Right.
throw him in this bracket.
Absolutely. Really.
Um, but we have 5 T-shirt designs made by a professional company, and then we have you guys leave your Instagram, your name, shirt size, and that's that. The winner will be announced on the weekend of WrestleCade.
Oh, nice, dude. Awesome. All right.
Yeah,
We'll keep an eye on that for sure.
yeah. And then guys, thank you to the sponsors of TBD Wrestling, Apple City Championship Wrestling, and Wrestling Evolution,
Awesome.
which are North Carolina based promotions.
Awesome. Yeah. And for those companies, bring your shepherd down. Let me show you what North Carolina can have in your shepherd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's right. Appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
no problem.
Alrighty.